So the meaning of basic practice of sketching for designers is a broader understanding of design concepts. A sketch is an interpretation of an external event. While giving concrete forms to abstract concepts, sketches can help designers treating the subject with an eye to form and treating colors through an eye of tones. Sketches can also help designers to sort out perspective and processing skills, and to achieve deeper texture expression. We can experiment with different forms to express the same subject, practice with different materials on hand drawing, because the images you create is limited by the materials you use, whether charcoal, pencil, or fountain pen. Different tool you use will create a different effect. Like the sketches we draw before we went to college, all we use is pencils. But today, we can try a more diverse method, like we could use ink. As long as it shows the relationship between black, white, and gray, we can use it. When we draw, never limit tools to traditional ones only, because items like toothbrushes, ropes, strings, all can be used to replace traditional tools and create richer and more interesting visual effects. Let's take a look at the pieces now. This one shows spring mattress, but the sponge parts on the outside are all stripped. All we are seeing now is the wire and spring inside. This piece has been greatly treated by the artist. He made the wire a little glossy. On the ones near us, the springs was turned into a white form. And then in our distant part, he changed it down to a dark state. This is the creator's own understanding of Simons. Or in his creations, he needs that effect. So he's done some adjustments, and he uses pencils. Let's look at the piece next to it. The piece is a couple of rivets on a concrete wall. A concrete wall is actually something that doesn't have much expression, just a dusty wall. And then the painter expresses the work in a relaxed way. The background is loose with a light gray layer, and then one in front of another. 9 of these little rivets is not very detailed. All we could see is the state of 9 points, but the state of these points feels loose. We will have infinite imagination about them. Maybe no one would say that. If you hadn't seen the picture, you wouldn't think it's a rivet. You may have other associations, but the whole picture of this in terms of composition and the sense of form is quite innovative. So about this piece, acrylic was used to paint. What is it drawing? The origin of the photo is actually some hemp ropes. The painter took pictures of a bunch of hemp ropes and then zoomed in on the details of the photo. At last, we see this set of twisting pipes. Because the twine is very thick in this work, the image will give us some other associations. Maybe you will think of water pipes, blood vessels, or something else. It's gonna bring a lot of imagination. In addition, because it formed a lot of junctions and passings in this, it also brings a lot of spatial relationships to the picture. We'll have a deep feeling of layers inside the picture. This one shows a pile of tires stacked on top of each other. He shows no specific expression of the sense of form in it, nor does the texture of tires, just expresses lots of stuff layered together. But we can feel this thing is a circle-shaped object. What deserves special mention is how it's presented. The artist pasted the paper on a board to paint, and then photographed it and submitted the picture. On this board, some traces were left. That's when he was painting. He was in a very free state, very relaxed. So there are some parts that are drawn out of the paper which left marks on the board. Besides, the paper was pasted on the board with adhesive tape. So at last, this tape paper trace is also in the picture. Thus, the image has formed lots of details. We can see both the texture on the board and on the tape paper. So the picture virtually adds some spatial relationships. Also, this piece is done by acrylic, It is very well drawn. So what is this piece supposed to be? It is the original photo. It is actually a scaffold. But what we're seeing are like separate lights. Some darker, some brighter. The sense of form in the picture is also very good, with just these points. Then these points are all hazy, and the whole background is a shade of gray. It is a piece by charcoal. The pictures also leave us a lot of room to imagine. The sense of formality is good too.